Coming up on the Style Rebellion podcast.
Now that we have expanded to this like color analysis for virtually, I'd argue that even from that infancy, it's really struggled to have the Black, more melanated people be prioritized and how to be able to perceive the correct undertones and putting them in a palette that truly fits for them. Because again, it was always an afterthought. They were never really prioritized. There was not that much representation.
Start the rebellion. Let them all roar. It's time to be seen.
Welcome, everybody, to our Style Rebellion podcast. I'm Blair Petroni, your image consultant that helps you get dressed in 90 seconds with my style blueprint, help you find your colors, your kibby body type, and your essence. I'm here with the ever beautiful, effervescent Erin Cox. Hey, Miss Erin.
Hey, Blair. You're too kind.
I'm not. I'm just honest.
Well, also, I got dressed in 90 seconds because of you. So
well, because you had to be here. Because you had to be here quickly.
I did. Oh, man. So, hey, I'm here to answer all the questions that you, or ask all the questions, rather, that you might be thinking that you're not able to ask. So I am here to represent you, and we are really, really thrilled for today's episode.
And when we say you, by the way, Erin's talking about y'all, because I call Erin the every woman. Erin's the person that, like, just in case nobody knows this, because sometimes there are people that tune in randomly and they just find us now. Erin is the one that knows everything about all the things. She's my domestic goddess. She knows everything there is to know about being a nurse and about science, like Erin. And of course, she has 2 kiddos. So Erin has so many things that make her so invaluable to me. And to you guys, too.
The plates are spinning. All of them. They're all spinning around, a circle around my head.
That's because you're a classic. And you guys are always spinning your fucking plates.
Gosh. Well, speaking of classics, Blair, I have to tell you a really funny story. So Blair and I have both been traveling. And my family and I were skiing last week in Colorado. And so we flew from Knoxville to Denver, and then we drove and we stopped at the grocery store to get the things that we were going to need for our little condo so we could do breakfasts and dinners and things like that. And, you gotta have a plan when you have 2 little kids, because if you don't have a plan, it gets real ugly real fast. So we're in the grocery store and we have some cold things, and obviously we can't check into our place yet. So I ask if they have bags of ice available, because sometimes grocery stores will give it to you for free if you shop there. So the lady's like, yeah, up front by the customer service desk in the cooler, there's a little ice chest you can grab. You can grab these bags. And so I walk up there, I open the cooler, and I pick up 2 little plastic sacks that like legit could look like breast implants. Like maybe you wouldn't want to put those inside of you because they were a little lopsided and all of that, but roughly the size of like some large implants. So I've got one in each hand.
They're like pina coladas, awkward. But they're
and I hear this very French accent saying, I'm wearing the sweater I'm wearing right now, which is a French brand. And this woman, I hear this French accent say, I like your jumper. And I was like, oh, so I turn around and I start speaking to her in French, and her friend goes, what is that? And I look at the sweater, and meanwhile, I'm still holding the implant ice packs in my hands. She's like, what is that? And I said, it's Isabelle Marant. And she goes, well, no. And her friend was like, she speaks really good French. And her friend goes, well, of course she speaks French. She knows Isabelle Marant. She's like, but what are those? I was like, oh, they're just ice bags. Jesus. So I put them in the bag. We finish our conversation in French. And my daughter's like, Mom, that's so cool that you can talk to them in a different language. And I'm like, that's why I've been trying to speak to you in French since you were born. So maybe one day you can do it too.
And you're refusing, small child, to get with the program.
Oh man. So now when I'm really mad, I'll speak to them in French, and they're like, oh, Mommy's speaking a different language.
Mommy's angry. Look, to be fair, if I was going to speak to anybody, even if I was being really nice to them, I would try to speak to them in German. That is the scariest language on the face of the planet. It's just a lot of hissing and spitting at people.
It's a lot of really guttural sounds for sure.
I probably just said my car is black in French. I mean, sorry, German. That's
Possibly.
probably
Possibly. So Blair, you were traveling. How was your trip?
I was speaking. Actually, you know what's really funny is you have a story about French, and I also have a story about Frenchmen. Because we were in France and Europe, as well. So we were in Versailles, in Paris, and in London, and that was obscenely fun. You will have people when you come back to the United States that will be like, "Were they really mean to you in France? Were they mean?" The old people were. The old people were real mean. The boomers were real mean. But I don't think they're online or as much of a global community is my theory as what those of us that are like millennials and younger are, because they were so nice. Millennials, Gen Z, Alpha, they were all super nice and super fun. Also, there was a lot more people running in France than I thought there would be. Just on the side of the road, just running. And I was like, I didn't even think these people exercised. I just thought they smoked and ate croissant.
No. That was decades ago. Now they exercise. Now they fare their sport. They faire du sport.
Clearly. Well, also, do you know what I found out is the London Marathon is coming up. So I was like, oh, I bet you a bunch of them probably qualified and they're probably training.
May very well be the case.
That was my thought. And then I was like, I don't know what that's like. I don't do that.
So question for you. If you had to choose one forever, Paris or London?
London.
I'm with you on that one, sister.
London.
I love London.
London. Look, Liberty London was so fun to shop in. So fun being able to go onto their, what was it, the third floor, the fourth floor? I think it was the third floor. And being able to look at all of those fabrics and touch everything and not get yelled at for touching everything.
Did you just want to take them off the shelves and like wrap them around your body?
Literally. And I don't think they're used to having people come in and create content, because I came in, so I'm going to tell this story really, really fast for the people that like didn't see the story on Instagram. Okay. When I was in Liberty London and I was at I think it was the Jones Road counter, and I was making content for everyone about Jones Road. Literally one of and it was it was my new gay bestie. Although he doesn't like me. He's my bestie. I'm not his bestie. He looks at one of the other chicks at the counter and he goes, "Do you really think she has all these people in her phone that she's actually talking to that actually care what she says? Do you think she's on social?" Because, I mean, this is why I say this is the corner of the internet. Like you could have millions of followers and someone still have no idea who you are. It's a corner of the internet, right? Anyway, and so the woman looks at him and goes, "Probably not." Like they thought I was just here just for myself.
Just talking to my phone for fun to record my trip through Liberty of London.
They probably were just like, whatever. This white bitch is probably just thinks she's so important.
Oh my goodness.
So she's just talking to like 20 people.
That's so funny.
Do you think she's actually talking to people on social? Probably not.
But yes, she is. Also, that peacock print that they have, the peacock feather print. Oh my God. Come get in my closet.
Everything that was there, like when I was, talking about, forget the cottons. While the cottons were super, super lovely, we get to the part where all the silks are and the crepe de chine. Oh God. Just want to like ensconce myself.
Yeah.
And all of those things. Everything is fire over there. Everything is super beautiful. And then it's in this like super old Tudor style building.
Yeah.
So it's, by the way, that they used the timber from 2 ships to build Liberty London. So
it's magical.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. But then when you went to, the malls in Paris, everyone was just so rude. and awful. God bless my husband though. He found this pair of Louis loafers and I was like, we should try them on. And we like tried to get someone to come help us and this like probably 100-pound soaking wet girl that was the security because we couldn't find anyone that could actually help us try on these loafers. We were like, do you have someone that can help us? And she was just like, I am just the security. Let me try to find someone for you. And then she never came back.
Okay.
Which is so Paris. My husband was like, I don't even need to try on those $300 Euro shoes. And I looked at him and I was like, you're cute. Those are $9.75. That's precious. That just shows you my husband. He's no idea about prices of like clothing or fashion brands. All escape him. Like he has no idea.
Yes, and if you're going to drop 975 euros on a pair of shoes, you're going to try them on first.
That's what I told him. I was like, bro. Anyway, but she never came back. Some dude that was like literally standing at the counter across the way who had nobody that he was working with. He was like, it will take you about 5 minutes. You should just be waiting another 5 minutes. Anyway.
Yeah.
Smoke that. that was printemps when we were in Paris and they were
very nice.
In the ass.
I love it.
Anyway, speaking of trying to get glow ups in one aspect or another, I have been so stoked to get this guest on with us today. Here's why, you guys. I have had this vision of needing like fairness, honestly, in the color and style world. And I felt like there were so few people out there that were actually part of the community that were doing that across all skin tones, all body types, all everything. And so Erin and I did a search. We did a search of who we wanted to work with. And one of those people is here with us today. So our guest today is known as the Glow Up Curator. This is Dominic Domo McCrainy. Domo is a Dallas-based image consultant, you guys, esthetician, founder of Domo Esthetics, who's here to separate both color theory from internet nonsense. Y'all, there's a lot of nonsense out there that you have to be aware of. If you've ever wondered whether color analysis has been getting it wrong, especially across, like I said earlier, those diverse skin tones and features, y'all, he is the one that's politely and very precisely calling everything out and setting everything straight. Hi, Domo.
Hello. I loved the intro. Yes. Thank you so much, Erin, Blair. Thank you for having me. I'm so hyped because I think I said in the beginning, like, we're ready to get into some things. So
deep things.
Absolutely. Some things. Come on. And like you said, like kind of being precise. I'm all about precision. I'm all about getting it right. I'm also like insane. That's why I do what I do. Like when you do color analysis, when you do styling, there's a specific type of person that has to be like really close attention to detail. And yeah, I'm kind of like a style psychopath. So I'm so ready to just like talk about it. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And yeah, I try to be very polite with my myth busting, if you will. But like at some point, the nonsense got to stop. At some point, we got to reel it back in. We're losing the plot, people. So let's get in.
I absolutely agree. Also, let's tie this back to body type. Kibby, because you and I love Kibby. Are you a dramatic body type? Are you a pure dramatic?
It's like, I actually don't know. To be honest, I actually don't know. But, I try to like, it's difficult trying to do your own body type when you haven't truly looked at all of David Kibbe's like real teaching and education for it. And I wanted to get to a space where I genuinely wanted to give it all of my time because that's what I did building my business. Like, it's like, okay, let's do the full education for esthetician and skincare. Let's do my full attention for color analysis. Let's do my full attention on how to build a business as an image consultant in styling. And literally the David Kibbe method for your body type, that is literally next up on my list, next up with proper makeup placement. And so because I'm almost like a machine, I try to like slow myself down before, crashing and burning. But truly people have asked me that and I'm just like, I could guess, but like I really like want to know. And for me to truly feel like I could like speak on the matter, I was like, I want to give my full attention to that. So it's in the agenda of to do. So
Well, the good news is we happen to know someone who might be able to help you with that.
yes, exactly. How long? Just like picking your brain. How long do you feel like it? Well, you feel like you got like the full hang of like being able to utilize the Kibbe method?
I will be very honest with you. It's going to take you years.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I think I think people think that too with different elements of styling. They think that you're just gonna like pick it up and you're gonna be able to call yourself an expert. And that's just not how it works. I mean, not if you're any good. You know what I'm saying? Any Joe Schmo can pick up a camera nowadays and just blow smoke into the camera and say like this, that, and the other, and then start typing people and then start charging people. But I really honor people who take their career, their reputation, and their craft seriously enough to like be hands-on, pick up the literature, really like dig deep into it. Cause that's what I do. I have like the amount of books that I have on like styling, color analysis, like this is why I'm even able to regurgitate just different types of, just background in history. Like I can reference, all the way into the early 1900s with color theory and how we've gotten all the way up to today where there's like color analysis frameworks of like 23 different palettes. Like insane stuff. But it's really good to be able to see how so much has evolved over time and how there's so many elements and facets to how you can glow up. Kind of like tying it back, like what does that even look like for you? And that's going to look different for everyone. And it may not always be physical. Honestly, fun fact: when I moved from Southern California to Dallas, I didn't come here thinking I was going to be a stylist. I thought I was going to go into mental health. I was going to get my master's. I had my letters of recommendations. I was literally waiting for one more. It was from a director I had just worked from. And I was like, girl, where you at? Like, I need to like get this so I can actually start like do my applications. And hindsight's 2020. I was still waiting on hers. And when I finally moved to Dallas, I was having a really hard conversation with myself. Like, Dominic, do you really want to go back to school and be like in more financial debt? And then on top of that, you've always been a creative because I've always loved people. I've always loved the human mind. I've always loved that whole aspect of like being service oriented. But I knew there was one thing and pertains to psychology and therapy and mental health that you're bound by ethics. So there's only so much that you can do in regards to a creative space. And I remember one day I got here, I was like at my aunt and uncle's house, sitting on the bed, and it just kind of came to me. It was like, well, Dominique, like you've always loved skin, you've always loved self-care. And so like, why not like esthetician school? It's like, it's not mental health. It's not therapy, but it's not that in the traditional sense. But you will go to hairdressers. You all may go to estheticians. These people, especially when you see people, I mean, obviously you go with them because they do a good job, but you keep going back to the same person because you trust that person. You build a rapport, and over time you really do open up to these type of professionals, and these people in a way almost become like a therapist. And you really get to like get grounded and like really get to know these people. You share all these different stories with these people, and you see how the transformation and the glow up happens from the time that you meet them. And you just hope by the time that they end your service that they've left even just a little bit different than when they first came to you. And that's truly why I feel like ultimately this is what I was meant to do. Everything, I think, again, like hindsight's 2020, everything had a purpose. Everything had its own plan. I may not have always seen it. Like even right now, like who knows what's happening in 2 years from now. But 2 years ago, definitely did not see myself on a style podcast talking to you ladies about me building a business, talking about color analysis and body types and image consulting and like what does glowing up look like. At the end of the day, I think it's a very American thing when we talk about glowing up. People think it's like, oh, well, I have this event or I have this wedding, this occasion coming to, and I really need to like look my best. I need to glow up. Or some people are even something as simple as like people are coming over to my house. Like I need to make sure it like looks immaculate. And I think that's because we live in this Instagram curated type of a society now. But glowing up is for you. And on top of that, it's you should be able to feel like it's okay for you to glow up because that's what you deserve. You deserve to feel and look your best inwardly and outwardly. And sometimes you just need to go to someone who's unbiased, who doesn't really know you, doesn't see you every day, to really be able to see how we can pull out that vision. And I like to consider myself as like kind of like a style visionary. And that's why I love image consulting. This is why I love styling. This is why I love color, because I am in the business of transformation. And why did I coin the name the Glow Up Curator? First, says simply, because I can. Truth be told, because I can. We know Law Roach. He's like the image architect, and for me, when I think of glowing up, I don't think of it as just something as physical, because I can sit here and we can put makeup on you, find your colors, find your body type, dress you to your best. But if internally we're not really that connected to it, we're really only going to radiate so far. So much. And I feel like, regardless if I spend one session with a client and just do their color analysis and never see them again, I would like to think that, down the road with their overall makeover transformation journey, that I'm just a small piece of that. And I think that's such a gift to be able to give back to people.
So let's pop backwards for a second.
Yeah.
You said so much there. When it comes to having a therapy relationship, actually what some people know and some people don't is before this podcast was called Style Rebellion, it was called Style Therapy.
Oh, love this. See, full circle. I love.
It's called Style Therapy. And then we found out that was trademarked by someone else.
Oh.
So we had to change it.
And we didn't want to get sued. So.
Yeah, we don't want to get sued. Nobody wants to get sued. Lawyers already make enough money. But what we really feel, and it was really from what I felt, is that after working with my clients for years and years, there really is a therapy aspect to colors and to style. And not many people that are clients realize that before they get here.
Yeah.
And then once they leave, they go, oh, that's what she was talking about. Because what it'll do is it'll bring up all of these emotions that you don't know that are maybe still there. You don't know why you've been having these feelings about certain colors or certain styles. There's family of origin things that just come up with all of this, where there's just like deep rooted emotions or things that your family are telling you. Like, for example, I'll have baby boomers come in all the time and say, well, I was told constantly that being feminine was the most important thing, and I don't know anything about style. Or millennials whose parents will come with them and they'll say, oh, you got a little tummy there, you need to suck in that tummy. I'm like,
oh gosh,
yes. What is wrong with you?
We all listen, there's no unique experience when it comes to millennial trauma, I'm telling you.
No, we all co-voyage. It's what we call it here. We co-voyage together along this whole thing.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason why we actually did a whole episode about like pre-work of what you need to be doing before you have a style analysis. And all of that goes so deep into the mental side of this. Yeah. And this is why I tell people, if you want to be really, really good at being an image consultant, they'll say, Blair, what's the secret? What's the secret of being real good? And I'll say, you got to be real good with people.
People, period.
You have to be. You don't have a choice.
It's the foundation.
Have to be really good. That's why I call myself a style witch. You're the Glow Up Curator. I'm a style witch. You'll hear me say constantly with my clients of, when it comes to Kibby, what you're doing is you're dressing your body based off of what is special about you. I call it your superpowers.
Yeah.
You are truly dressing yourself to what makes you special.
Absolutely.
Your your allowances is what David calls them now, really are the things that you're dressing yourself to. Unlike, I call them the nouns, the hourglass system, right? You're an hourglass, you're a pear,
Ooh.
you're an apple, right, whatever.
Yes.
What I started
Yes.
realizing very early in my style career was that entire system is literally dressing you based off of fear and telling you that you're ugly. Like, oh, you're born ugly. Isn't that sad that you're born ugly? You don't have any curves. You're a rectangle. Let's give you some.
Okay.
If you look at it, you're like, oh my God. Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an apple. You have too many curves.
Oh, sure.
We gotta suck you in. You're an hourglass. Thank God. Thank God you're an hourglass. But don't you dare eat anything. Otherwise, you'll turn into an apple and you're ugly. Like,
Isn't
it's
that crazy?
just
Oh my
the
gosh.
worst.
Yeah, I do like now that, now that we're in the 2020s at this point, like there's been a lot of societal changes in how we just perceive beauty. I mean, I don't know if you all have been following, the America's Next Top Model documentary thing that's been rolled out. So as someone literally who always loved style, followed that show from like its fruition
Religiously.
up until now. So even just kind of like the conversation around beauty standards and body type standards and what we consider to like what can be a model, what is also acceptable to be revered as beautiful, or what we want to be able to see. Love that there's way more inclusion now, but not even just like, because I think people just throw around the word like inclusion. I just love that it's more realistic now. We went through that whole kind of era when they talked about like heroin chic, and that had its own little purpose or for whatever. But obviously we see now how such the negative effects that it has had, especially on millennials, because I mean, first of all, us millennials, we've gotten the shit end of the stick on a lot of different elements, just in regards to psychologically, economically, we get it. So now I do like that the conversation, where we've just broadened the net on what we can be able to see, different shapes and different types of clothing and all these just different types of element of what we consider beautiful. And that's what I love. I love how we
Whitney being the
continue to
first
change.
plus size model at size 10.
Yes.
Plus Whitney at a plus size at a 10. Like, are y'all what?
Yeah, that's where we were at for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
It's still that way. They
Yeah.
still consider 10 plus size. Like that's starting. But Whitney has been one of the very first plus size models that went on to have a really like she's the one that like paved the way for like the Ashley Grahams.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think, cause I saw the documentary and she was saying how the show in comparison to maybe some of the other contestants, like it really helped catapult her career, but she happened to be in that niche where it's like, she could really like bust that glass ceiling. And I love the fact that she didn't just win and she wasn't like timid. Like, no, she ran with it. She did what she was supposed to do.
She also has that personality too, though. I think some of these girls that won, my opinion, we're getting into spicy shit now. I love it. My opinion with some of these girls was that they actually didn't have the personality type that was going to help them
100%
become successful. Like you have to be like a Tyra. You have to own your own image and be able to run with that good, bad, or if you don't like Tyra, I don't care. That's not what we're talking about.
No,
we're
100%.
talking about the fact that like you have to be the one that owns your future. Tyra made sure that she did that. I don't think there's a lot of girls that won that did that because they're like, nobody helped me. Nobody did anything. Why do you need help?
Blair, I'm actually so glad that you said that because I think there's this other separate conversation since the documentaries come out where I think we've made it easy to just villainize Tyra when what I don't like about the internet now, and also I want to just say this too. If you didn't watch America's Next Top Model on UPN or the CW, I don't want to hear your opinion.
Don't talk to me. You are not old enough.
You're not. So I just think it's easy to villainize Tyra, but I think what I don't like now is that there's no nuance in these conversations. There's no, like, people don't want to talk about how this is a very multi-complex type of a situation. So the fact that you even talk about how some of the winners, even not even just contestants, some of the winners did not go on to have this like prolific type of career and success. I think a great example of this would be someone like Eva
Shandy.
Marcel. Oh yeah, yeah. That so like I know exactly what you're about to say too, but like so with Eva Marcel, she was the winner of Cycle 3.
Yeah.
And she was relatively short, right, for her, but she,
Yeah.
even though she didn't have like a super lucrative like high fashion career, she had a huge career in TV and acting, and she also did modeling campaigns. But also she had that personality. She was able to really play up into that Eva the diva persona.
Yeah.
So I think people also need to
She
keep
was
that in
never
mind.
not going to be successful.
A
She was like,
100%.
oh no, I'm going to ride this wave for all it's worth. I'm going to make
Absolutely.
my future.
Truly, you have to just like, there gets to a point, and I do believe this firmly, that when you get presented a particular opportunity, there's a small window of time to really maximize it and do what you need to do, or that ship is going to sail. I believe this. And I think there's a lot of things that need to be considered with that. So I think when people talk about how like there's not been a top model that's really come out of the show, I do agree with that, because I will say there's not really any top models. Like we're not revering a lot of the models who came from America's Next Top Model as like the Bella Hadids that we would see now. But we still know a lot of their faces and their names. Like people who didn't even win. Like we've seen Takara on a lot of different shows. Yaya. These are all people from just Cycle 3. Then we talk about later on in the cycles, people like Annalie Tipton, who goes by Leo now. A successful actress. Like there's just a lot of things that people, they leaned into their strengths that were told to them on the show.
Yep.
And they made something out of it.
Because they're smart.
That's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not just take away the things that were very wrong with the production and the show for sure. But I do think that it's easy to blame someone like Tyra. I don't like how, I understand where Tyra needs to take accountability, but I don't like this kind of like trying to like take her down a peg, because what we're not going to do is take a Black woman who also has her own trauma in the industry and try to completely take away what she's done. Again, there's nuance. And I don't like that either. You know what I'm saying? Trying to like kind of like bring her down. And I'm just like, no, like there's more to this. So yeah.
I totally agree. Erin, have you been watching any of the drama that's been happening with ANTM?
I have not watched a ton of it, but I have seen a few clips here and there of like throwing shade at Tyra for some things that she said to some people, and yeah.
A lot of people are forgetting, y'all, this is the entertainment industry. They are here to entertain you. That woman learned all kinds of acting techniques. Okay, that, and like not even just in the beginning, you can see if you have any kind of empathy in your soul, or you've done any kind of acting or anything, you can totally see how at the very beginning she was more like herself, and as the seasons kept going and going and going, she learned all these acting techniques and these different things that she was going to start pulling out of her hat so that she could make really good TV, because that's what she was there to do, guys. They weren't there to make friends. They're there to make good TV. Like, stop pretending like you had no idea that they were going
100%.
to give you a character arc, and that they weren't going to give you some sort of like backstory that they wanted to say, or shut up.
Yeah, no, seriously, some of y'all just gonna have to kind of shut up a little bit, because I also think too, I don't like also how, I know it's kind of framed as though like the show made them do things, but like everyone had choices. Like there's models and contestants who left on their own volition. Think about, again, Cassandra. She was like pageant girl. They made her blonde, cut her hair off. Tyra was obsessed with this concept of Rosemary's Baby haircut. They said like, it's not what I wanted. I want you to cut off some more inches. And she, at the end of the day, it was her threshold. She was like, you know what? I'm good, and I'm gonna go back to my home state and go back in pageants. I'm gonna sew some tracks back into this head, and I'm good. If that's what worked best for her, that's what worked best for her. And you know what? I honestly think Cassandra was kind of like iconic for that. Now, do I think that the cut that they were trying to give her would have ate? Yes, because I do think that her face could have carried it.
That's because she's
that was
dramatic.
her choice, and she left on her own volition.
That's because she's dramatic. Also, I don't think that there are enough people that were telling these girls why.
Sure.
I think if they're, which is honestly what I built my career on too, which is telling people, hey, this is why this is going to work on you. Like, let's go into that and talk about that. I think that they were just like, you sign an NDA, we could replace you with 47 other people. We're not going to tell you shit. But if they had just said like, hey, this is why XYZ is going to work. Like if you look at what Mr. J was telling people of like, hey, you're going to go home if you don't give me something because your face looks crazy. Here's how you could change that. Mr. J was famous for that.
Yeah, 100%.
He could tell you all that stuff. Oh my God, I love that we're getting an ANTM. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
I'm so
I have some
obsessed with that
episodes
damn
to go
show.
binge. I have a whole lot of catching up to do. I'm excited.
Girl, you got 24 cycles.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot, but truly, ANTM's close to my heart. I'm like low key an America's Next Top Model historian because like even I've seen all the cycles, but like I've seen most of the contestants like interviews and podcasts. There's like a whole anthology series that was filmed during like the pandemic where they were like going on like this YouTuber's page and like doing interviews. So a lot of the tea that's coming out to some of these like newer audiences,
You're like, I already knew this.
Yeah, knew it already. And I feel like, it's like, you all can feel how you want to feel, but like, y'all weren't there. There's so many layers, there's so many scandals and incidences that like, honestly, if we really wanted to get into things, deserve their own episode per cycle or per incident.
Let me get back to asking Domo some questions.
Yes.
Sorry, babe. So what's your like we'll get back into color analysis, you guys. We'll do it. What's your non-negotiable when you are analyzing someone for color?
Yes. So there are these like rules and guidelines that I just typically follow. Yeah. And also keeping in mind with color analysis and just color, like we've expanded it now to virtual now. So with that said, like there's certain types of photos that I need. Like there's times when I have to go back and forth with different clients because they'll send photos and I'm like, that's not good enough. The lighting doesn't do what I need it to do. And I think that's another reason why people get mistyped often. It's just the quality of photos and the lighting. But one non-negotiable is like you need to be barefaced. You need to be barefaced, especially if you're coming in person. It's just going to do you a disservice. If you're coming in with tinted sunscreen on, with foundation on, even a light beat, like we need to see the full like raw skin because when we do color analysis, we're not doing it based off of your surface level coloring. And that's another reason as to why people get often mistyped too, because people are going based off of this like surface level pigment and coloring and trying to see what matches with that. But we need to be able to see beyond that. We want to see the undertone because there's this nuance with what makes complexion. There's overtone and then there's undertone. Undertone is what we focus on because that's really where we can really anchor color theory and science because the undertone is what combines that pheomelanin, so yellow and reddish pigment, and eumelanin, which is that black and brown pigment. And if you're going to be more leaning warm or leaning cool or like some level of neutrality. And it's so interesting when you're doing it in person because when you're doing the color drapes, what is amazing is being able to be the analyst and the consultant and the person's in your chair and they're looking at the mirror. We have it in daylight. That's another non-negotiable. We need to have some natural daylight coming in too. We try not to have too much artificial type of lighting because that can also kind of skew results. But you're going to be able to see how that undertone really reacts to certain colors close to the face. And that's why you want to be barefaced. So it's like, do we see shadows under the eyes? Are the nasolabial folds and the smile lines more prominent? Do we see a little bit more of a readiness? Does your skin look more luminous or does it look a little bit more drained of color? Do you look a little sallow? These are all things that you genuinely can't tell if you have any type of like medium on the face. And I can go into that too. That's a whole separate conversation when people talk to me about color and foundation matching in color analysis. And I have to kind of slow people back a bit, be like, okay, wait. It's like you have to approach those almost independently. Yes, you have to truly separate those. And I think people don't know what they don't know. And, I think I'm gonna be addressing this until to the end of time when it comes to that.
You will be.
But it's just I think people don't understand because I'll make statements that people find controversial. Like say for example, if you are a natural redhead, I say this often. I'm like, you're not a cool color season. So then I'll get people in my comments who are just so married to these like super bold winter colors,
Yep.
these cool icy tones, or
Yep.
summer colors where it's like there's gray built into all the colors. Beautiful palettes, very romantic, misty. I love it. But your undertone with that higher level of pheomelanin, when you're mixing it with those blue pigments, babe, you're going gray and you're looking a little bit colder because it's mixing. There's something with the undertone that's not aligned with your higher level of warmth. And I think people like to just, I mean, again, people just like what they like. But also, I don't understand why people sometimes go so hard in the comments or online about it. Because guess what? You have free will. If you love the icy colors, I promise you, not holding a gun to your head, wear the colors, wear your winter palette, do you. But the
Have
whole
you
purpose of color analysis is to find those colors and those shades that are the best for you without makeup on to make you look the most radiant. So you can walk out the house without a beat on and you can still look your best. But at the end of the day, I think people think it's like a gatekeeping thing. It's not gatekeeping. It's literally science based. And it doesn't matter how intricate, how much data I will bring, how many case studies I will bring. Because I'm actually one of the consultants that I'm actually really honest. If I've typed someone incorrectly, for example, I did a whole redhead series. I actually brought one of my clients that I had not only done in person, but I also did a virtual one, got her analysis done incorrectly both times. And this was like my very, very like in the beginning before I started charging any type of clients. And when I started to learn more about the science behind color theory and a color analysis, because she's a natural redhead. And then I was like showing the process and being like, this is what I did wrong. This is what I thought I was looking at. And this is what I really should have been looking at. I could be so honest. I can bring all these different articles, all these case studies, all the science that you want to. It's still going to bring, random Susie Joe from some random place in my comments talking about like, you're wrong. I'm a natural redhead and I look the best in winter colors. I love that for you, Susie Joe. I really do. But in regards to that, like your comment is subjective. It's not rooted in anything that is science based. So there's just things where it's just like, I just need people to just kind of like get out of your feelings for a second and just like open our ears. Let's try to learn something. And if you still don't like what I say, guess what? You still have your winter colors that are not aligned with your undertone. But hey,
what do you think is like the most thing that people misunderstand about color theory
Mhm.
versus aesthetics? Like,
Oh my gosh, yes. This is interesting because you wouldn't think there would be a whole lot of overlap or misunderstandings, but there is. Like just the other day, for example, so a part of my like business suite, like I do color analysis, but I do these edits and these mock-ups of hair and hairstyles because I do like a face shape analysis and all
love
these
it.
things. And when let's say you want to change it up, you want to get your hair done and it's one thing if you want to go on Pinterest and get the inspo and then take it to your hair colorist or hairstylist, but it's another thing if you have like this full guide and then you have mock-ups of your actual face and the hair. And so you can kind of be able to really better see what it looks like. So that's what I also curate. But because my process is like, again, because I'm insane, mine's like so like in-depth and intricate. Sometimes people will ask me being like, oh, well, my eyes are like really big and like they're these like hazel color. I just don't I don't understand how I'm not warm toned. How am I not an autumn? How am I not a spring? And I think one of the biggest things when it comes to color theory and aesthetics is that people will associate they'll just blend them all together as if it's like a one-stop shop. And it's like when we're doing color analysis, there's a reason why this is a separate service that I offer ba- completely separate from styling. The reason why I really love to lean into color is because once we find out your palette, we have a foundation. And there's been, clients that I have where, let's say, for example, they grew up from like being like more of like a scene girl where like like the emo type of that look, and they're like, I want to switch it up. All I wear is black, this and the other, and then Lord and behold, they end up being a spring, very opposite, right? But then their style is like very almost like whimsical, kind of difficult to be able to find garments in that way that will be able to your style, but it can be done. It
100%.
absolutely can be done. And so when they get this thing where they're like, well, I just don't understand because my features look like this, and like shouldn't it be more aligned with this type of a palette? And that's when we're kind of like losing the plot. It's like that's not how we apply color analysis. We just need to be able to find where your color harmony is, your style archetype. These are all things separately. That's when we can really get into the nitty gritties of like the things that you like about your lifestyle, the things that you enjoy. That's how we can really build that out. And then we start to, maybe audit your closet more, and we take out pieces that are just like truly not doing us any favors. And we make alternatives, and we make pivots, if you will. And so I really do think that people just don't know what they don't know. And my job is always continually educating people and like in steering them in the right way.
I actually want to move on to talk about accurate color analysis, because I want to come with methods and receipts because there's so many people that have and you so beautifully just touched on it a little bit, have no idea the difference between undertone and overtone, have no idea the difference between hue, value, and chroma, have no idea the difference between content that they're watching versus the actual disciplines that we've all learned. Because, by the way, Erin is a color analyst too. Erin is trained in a completely different, but she's trained in a very different system, where people don't understand the difference between of like these are all of I have 7 certifications in color analysis. I've worked with a ton of different systems. It's obscene. When you were like, I'm educated, I was like, girl, me too. I love it. Like we are nerds about this. And people don't understand, like, okay, well, what's the difference between like this content and the context that you're learning it in versus the discipline that it comes from. So let's like hop into that. So the difference between overtone and undertone, and Erin and I talked about this, I believe, Erin, in the color analysis episode, where undertone, guys, is that beautiful layer of fat. It's underneath your 7 layers of skin. It's either going to lean yellow, which means you're going to be warm, or it's going to lean blue, which means you're going to be cool. If it leans yellow, you're going to be an autumn or spring. If it leans blue, you're going to be a winter or summer. Period. End of story. That's how it works. However, the next question with my clients, Domo, I don't know if yours is the same way. They're like, okay, but what about my foundation? That's your overtone. That has nothing to do with your undertone. You start putting crazy ass colors on your overtone that you think is supposed to match your undertone. Like you start using your whites or your creams or your yellow or whatever for your you're gonna look bananas cuckoo.
Absolutely.
Don't you dare fucking do that. You're talk about cultural appropriation.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna look crazy. Also, you cannot change your hair color and change your clothing color and then turn yourself into another season. You just look nuts.
Blair, I'm based in Dallas. Yes. I actually worked with some of the Dallas cheerleaders, like former cheerleaders. And it's so crazy how they perceive themselves so much differently coming into the session because they basically go through like a machine. So I'll have some of them coming in for color analysis and they'll have this stark bleached blonde hair that's just not aligned. But
that's not for you.
Yeah, but it's the look. Of course it is. The look for Dallas, it's the hair, it's Southern glam. So I understand and I get it. And so they come here and then we almost kind of have to like deconstruct, and I'll tell my client because we do like a pre-consult before we do any draping. I let them know, like, hey, you probably have some color bias that we're going to break today. and we're not going to be able to break it until, you actually understand your color story. That's how I like to explain it to my clients. We're telling your color story, and I break it down as simple as possible, because I think a lot of people make color analysis very difficult, and it doesn't need to be.
Oh my
It's like
God, I say the same thing to my clients constantly. That's why I use metaphors constantly.
Yes, it's literally not brain surgery. Like we're gonna take your, 3 different types of, physical attributes, your hair, your skin, and your eye color, and then we're going to talk about the hue, value, and chroma. And I focus on those. Like we don't deviate much from that, because we kind of just compound all these things from there. And then by the time we get to your palette reveal, it makes sense. It just clicks for them. And so they'll see now, because again, like once you do it, like you can't unsee it. And then at
I
the
also
end of
say
the
that.
analysis,
I
yeah,
call this a know before you go endeavor, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you'll be in the dressing room for the rest of your life being like, damn it, Blair.
Yeah, no, for real. Actually, so many clients have actually, they'll be in front of the mirror, in front of their drapes, and they'll be like, damn it. No, because they just like went shopping or this, they have like a closet full of clothes that is just like completely unaligned. And it's just like, it's okay, babe. But that's exactly why color analysis in itself is such a great investment, because you end up saving money in the long run.
Thousands, tens
How
of
many times have we went
thousands
to the
of
store?
dollars for the
Yeah,
rest of
thousands
your
of
life.
dollars. How many times have we went to the store, we saw a garment that we just loved, and like we like love the color, because like, it's, like, oh my gosh, like my interior like color scheme is that, or like I wore this at my wedding, or my bridal party was in this thing, because like you love those colors. Then you're trying to, like, so you're buying a lot of these tones, and then there's just certain clothes that are in that shade that you just don't love, but you're like, but you love the garment and you love the color, but for whatever reason you don't feel like the color's loving you. Then you do a color analysis, and then you see
And you know
why.
that you're not a winter, you're
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like you like the brightness, you like the bright chroma of it all. We just need to adjust the hue. And again, it's all about making those like small pivots. And I tell my clients this every day. I tell this on my content for my followers. I'm a stylist, I'm an image consultant, but I'm not that image consultant that's going to be like, don't ever wear those colors. That'll never come out of my mouth. I don't think that style, fashion should be restrictive. I think if you're certain colors, because there's that color psychology. If there's certain colors that really bring you some type of joy, that you have like this deep connection to, wear the damn colors. It's so not that deep. I think that people should truly be able to express what they want to, and wear the colors that make them feel the best, because the glow up, again, is supposed to come inside and out, because we can glam you out all day and make you look like fire. But if internally it's not connecting, the job's not done, babe. And so that's what I really like to get anchored into with what I do.
Here's a fun question for you. What are the top 3 bad shortcuts that you see people doing online with color analysis or style? I don't even care. Whichever one.
First things first, the vein test.
It's not real.
Please, people, stop. They will be like, oh, like, this is not my color palette. Like, I have blue veins, this and the other. And it's like, babe, it's so not real. It's something that people have created online to try to like give you some type of a category. But truly, like, truth be speaking, like for example, before I even got into color analysis, I ended up doing like a $30 Etsy digital like color analysis, and this girl typed me as a true autumn. It's a really great example about how people of color are usually mistyped. And so when I got my results back, I was like, great, I'm a true autumn. So I started dressing in like true autumn colors.
All
They're
the
kind of rich, but they're
creams,
muted, and
all
the cream, stuff like that.
Mother effing pumpkin.
Yes, exactly. So I do content. So I would dress in these more creams and ivories, like warmer, light neutrals. And it's not that I felt like I looked bad, but there would be times where I would wear like stark white. And I'm like, why do I look so much more healthier? Like, why are the whites of my eyes so much more crisp? Why do I look like I'm actually glowing? It's interesting because when we talk about like a warm overtone, but like a cool undertone, I actually looked warmer dressing in the cooler tones, because that's how undertone's supposed to work. And so I was like, I am definitely not a warm undertone. I am not an autumn. And then like when I really started to getting into color analysis, and I found out that like, oh no, like I'm a winter, and like how that works, how that makes me look more elevated. So the veins test, please, people, I can't. The second thing is going to be your is prioritizing eye color.
Mm.
And truth be told is that your eye color is really does not matter more than what your skin, and then maybe secondary is going to be your natural hair color. The eye color, if anything, is just more of like an accent type of a feature. Because let's say, for example, you can put on certain tones. Let's say you have these beautiful green or maybe like kind of like hazel eyes, and you're putting on these warm colors, and like, oh, my eyes pop in these. Yeah, babe, but you're also sallow. You know what I'm saying?
Erin, do you want to tell him?
Well, so initially I was like an autumn as a
Yeah.
child, like a 12-year-old at VBS with the Color Me Beautiful, Beautiful Lady. And then I think, I mean, fast forward to like 30, I'm like, why have I looked like I'm dying of hepatitis my entire life? Like,
Just
Yeah,
jaundice.
why
but hold on,
am I
but hold
so
But
yellow?
hold on, House of Color fucking did you dirty too.
Well, but then I went, and had a different analysis done. And I was a dark summer. So like,
Oh, okay.
diving into winter, and probably a year or so. And my friend Amber, who like is at Enneagram 3, like she's a VP of finance. She's like total badass, but she does her due diligence
period.
on every decision she ever makes. She's like stalking all these different color analysts and image consultants. And she's like, I think I found the one I'm going to go to, because I looked at her and I was like, I don't know that, because she's got really like pale, pale skin, really like light green, kind of yellow green eyes. She's got like a coppery red hair. And I was like, I don't
but it's
know that
light.
anybody
Light.
but like a 16 plus situation is going to actually get you where you need to be. Because I can tell you, my system didn't get her where she needed to be. And I was like, if you were to go to a 4-season system, they're going to put you in one of two places. And like, we know that those don't work for you. So anyway,
Yeah.
I went and had a 4-season analysis done. It was a dark summer, excuse me. And like a year into it, I'm like, why do my teeth look so yellow? Like I'm wearing the makeup, I'm wearing the lipstick, I'm doing the things. I have like reinvested my entire wardrobe at this point. And so Amber's like, I'm flying to Houston to see Blair. Like, let's go have a girls' weekend. I'm like, down, ticket purchased. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to have Blair do my colors. Bright spring.
Crazy.
I almost threw up in her chair. Not like I have jokingly said, not jokingly, very seriously, actually said like I was unwell for like a solid couple of hours afterwards, because I'm like, literally I've been in every color palette, because all of the AI ones were like, you're a dark winter, and I'm like, no, I am not.
Yes,
So-
100%. So wait,
Yeah.
is that your palette? Is it bright spring?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love that you bring this up, because springs are probably the most mistyped individuals, because of the fact that they can tolerate such brightness and chroma, but it's almost like they are almost in an enigma, because I would say out of all the different seasons, spring can carry the most variation in hair color. So, which is another reason why they're often mistyped. So there's just times when like, what I found in my experience is like, if I'm having a more of a difficult time really pinning down someone, I instantly in the back of my mind, I'm like, is she about to be like a higher chroma spring? Because like that's what could be missing, because they almost become an afterthought, because it's a kind of a rare palette, if you will. And honestly, any of the bright palettes are bright spring, bright winter. Those are pretty rare, because it just takes a specific type of individual to really withstand those and look your best, most radiant.
Here's what I say about those. Are you ready?
Yes.
If you are a bright, your undertone goes to EDC and it bumps EDM. It's like, like it's so high chroma.
Yes, absolutely. So just the fact that you've kind of been placed in all these different palettes, it makes sense. But how good does it feel though when you finally get anchored and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like me, like this seems right. I bet that felt so good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it feels amazing. And I've watched different women go through analysis after analysis after analysis. And when you know it's right, you can finally stop searching. Right?
Absolutely.
And I love how when you were talking about holding up the different drapes for your clients and asking, like, quizzing them, for lack of a better
Yes.
word, on what they might think about a certain color. The fact that you do that gives you, in my opinion, so much credibility as a
Oh, thank
professional,
you.
because not only do you understand it well enough to teach it, right? Which means you
Hmm.
really get it. You're
Yeah.
taking those extra, you're not just being like, here's your palette, have fun shopping. And then you're shopping for something you need and you're like, oh, I forgot the fan. Like, what do I do? Right. And
Hmm.
when you had that
Yes.
moment of like, okay, is this bright or muted? Is this light or dark? Like, is this, how do I tell?
Absolutely.
You're suddenly like free to go and just have fun with it.
Absolutely. That's actually part of the reason as to why I started getting to color analysis, because I started seeing content coming on my For You page and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I never really heard about this before. And then it just caught my intrigue. And so I kept looking more into it. And when I really started to get anchored into how it worked, I started seeing more content. And then I started being like, I could do this. I could do what y'all are doing. And then the more I kept doing more education in it, and then I had the nerve to go get certified, then I started to realize some of y'all are not great at this. And I think what hurts the business is when you have color analysts who just kind of like spew out these different types of like rules that aren't rooted in anything that's theory. It's not
Mhm,
rooted in any type of real framework.
mhm.
And then, for example, the freaking veins test and like prioritizing eye color and all those other things. It's like, no, like we need to just take it back, let's strip it down, take it back to the basics. And that's why I kind of like when my clients in the chair, like I really want them to know. I need to make sure that they understand.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not getting off of this chair until like you're absolutely able to see what I'm telling you. Because it's not gonna help you like in the long term. And then that third thing about like probably one of the biggest misconceptions too, or just misinformation is that melanated individuals um can't be springs or they can't be summers, and that's just not the case.
You ever seen Jada Pinkett or Rihanna?
Yeah, exactly. Those are great examples. Like, I mean, Rihanna is an amazing looking, like soft summer. Individuals like Kerry Washington, Niecy Nash, these are great examples of some bright spring, melanated women. And I understand the grievances I've heard. I've heard the response from different women of color who say, like, I just don't like how we just kind of automatically get thrown into autumn and winter, which are like the dark seasons. And I also like to preface this too. I was like, those are also beautiful palettes. Like, it's just, those are more commonly we are going to be in those palettes just because like a lot of us do have that similar coloring, but it's not a blanket, like we do our community a real disservice when and then I think as well too, I think we're getting more education about what color analysis is. And sometimes, white analysts, they just don't have the clientele to be able to practice. So I understand that too. Like there has to be grace for that too. But at the same time, there's still to this day, there's just certain palettes and certain things where like you can do a process of elimination. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain types of seasons and palettes where I know a very deeply rich melanated person is not going to be a certain palette. That's just how it goes.
You open the can of worms. Let's go there. Let's get
Yeah,
into color analysis for melanated skin. So, quote unquote, is color analysis for Black people? Well, color
yes,
analysis is for anyone that has a fucking undertone.
yes,
Number one. But that question
yeah,
exists
yeah,
because the industry, and I'm going to say this very loudly, even for the people in the back, so with the cheap seats, the industry failed melanated clients for a very
sure.
long time. And I fully believe that it still does in certain systems, actually.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's one of my videos that's done really well. I saw this beautiful young Black girl. She came onto my For You page and she started off her video like, "Is color analysis for Black people?" And she just started talking about how she didn't really know much about it, but then she kind of went down her own rabbit hole and she saw different like analysts that were, I think were like non people of color
Yeah.
and saying how like people with her coloring would fit more as like this or that. And then she tried to do ChatGPT and trying to like DIY it and stuff like
My
that. And
God,
I have
don't do
a
that.
whole other separate conversation. But I started off my video by saying, addressing the question like, was color analysis developed or is it for Black people? And I said plainly, like, no, like when it first started out, it's not. It wasn't why it was created. Back, I mean, it goes all the way back to even like the early 1900s, like when we talking about just color theory and like Johannes Itten, like he is like a Swedish painter, and they talk about like the different types of theory. Then you kind of fast forward in time, and you have individuals like Joanne Cahill and people like that who are really credited towards kind of making these different seasonal palettes that are kind of comparing human color characteristics to the seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And then you have someone like Joanne Richmond, who was like right under her, who learned, or Carol Jackson rather. Carol Jackson is the one who's like was like under her, and then she kind of was credited towards like commercializing it and really popularizing it and making it like a thing where now image consultants are wanting to learn color analysis and stuff like that. But these earlier drapes, these earlier methods, and even the training materials, the visuals that we see, they were primarily for the Eurocentric type of woman and color typing. So even if you were a person of color who wanted to get into it, and around that time, your clientele wouldn't have been white; they would have been people of color. You wouldn't have even been to know where to start because the training materials would not even had something that's shown such a wide range for not even just complexion, just even like undertone and not associating like automatically warm undertone for Black people. I can even go even further. Even back during the infancy stages of color printing and color photography, there was these things called like Shirley cards, where it's basically how you can it basically centered like white woman and how you can actually like perceive color through color print. And it always prioritized that type of aesthetic. So when you had people of color in print, it was such an afterthought in how you even perceive people of color in photos. And so even today, now that we have expanded to this like color analysis for virtually, I'd argue that even from that infancy, it's really struggled to have the Black, more melanated people be prioritized and how to be able to perceive the correct undertones and putting them in a palette that truly fits for them. Because again, it was always an afterthought. They were never really prioritized. There was not that much representation.
Or even put them in the mix, right? Or even
Yeah,
put them in the mix, right? Like if you're
100%.
going to, which again, we were talking about colonialization earlier, like let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
That's like there are still such deep
Yeah.
roots of ethnocentricity that are running inside, I mean, around the world, but we're talking specifically about the United States right
Yeah.
now. Like that's, and it's not even just African American. Like we're talking Native American, we're talking Asian, we're talking Mexican, we're talking
Yeah.
South American, we're talking, right? It doesn't matter where you're from. If you had any type of melanation in your skin, you were essentially forgotten about in color analysis. And my very, 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 I believe it's the first reel I ever posted. If you go back like 300 reels or something,
Yes.
the very first one I ever posted was about color analysis is for people with melanation. And everybody was
Yeah.
like, who's this white chick that's
Yeah.
talking about this? I'm like, because that's something that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
It's really
Yes,
important
yes.
to me.
100%. And I think that's why I love that, over time, I did that whole video. I was kind of talking about like the history behind it. But, I said, as we continue to kind of develop, we've expanded it from like the tonal method. So just like the 4 seasons, expanding it to the 12 season system where it's like the 4 seasons with 3 different type of subseasons within them, and then now we have 16. That's what I'm trained in. So it has it casts a bit of a wider net with maybe some more nuanced type of coloring features, all the way to if you want to get to a master level in the International Image Institute, where it's like it's very nuanced and like it's very like
There's
putting
23
people.
seasons, and 2 seasons can have a baby. Spring and summer can have a
Yes,
have a baby. It's a light
absolutely.
flow, and you got
Yes.
universal palette, and yeah,
Universal
absolutely.
palette, true light. Like there's just so many things. It's really interesting. I that's why I love color. But I tell people now, it's like it's definitely developed over time to make it more inclusive and being able to really put those people of color as a priority.
Yeah.
And all those different types of nuances.
Yeah.
Because let's say, for example, an individual with the skin tone and complexion of Lupita Nyong'o, very, very deeply melanated.
I'll use her all the time as my bright winter example. Oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with her.
Yeah, I mean, there's different types of people who even have her complexion versus like someone like a Damson Idris, where again it's like very, very similar type of complexion, but like technically 2 different undertones.
Yeah.
So it's
Very.
just those nuances that are there that I love to
Yeah.
bring up. And I think when it comes to things like this, whereas we're still in a very niche industry, just having that representation and having people who look like you talking more about it, creating the space. And again, just, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And I've been really blessed when I get individuals of color who saying like, I've been curious about color analysis, but I didn't really know if I wanted to get it done. But after seeing your content and finding you, it's like, I definitely want to get it done with you. And that really makes me feel really good because I know that there's other people who they could go to who can do it virtually for them, this and the other. But I think it's just something about how the way I educate people with it and I really get into the crevices of it, that people really respect. And again, that's just because I take my career and my reputation and my craft very seriously. And at the end of the day, we're in a crazy time in our economy. People work hard for their money. And that's why I feel like even though like we're on this like kind of like recession economic type of a turn point now, but the beauty industry is still here and going to thrive because at the end of the day, we saw this even in the Great Depression. People still invested in how they looked. People still, because even all the crazy type of like political things that are going on right now, at the end of the day, when you're at home, you just want to feel good. You just want to look good.
Yep.
And I think there's something about the beauty industry where it's just like, it's, it's never going to go away. And I think where I'm sitting within that beauty community, that's why I really like to create the space. You know, right now we're kind of in those unprecedented type of times. And so sometimes you just want to, you know, pick up your phone and scroll and you just want to talk about color. You just want to talk about style. You want to just see what your favorite celebrity wore on the red carpet. And if that is going to literally just give you some type of solace in this crazy ass time, then hey, you're speaking to the choir. Like it's so relatable and I'm here for that. So one thing that I will say, this is how I kind of realized that I was onto something in regards to my career and just being in the content creation space. Cause like, not only am I a content creator, but like, I also promote a business. I promote a brand and a service. I had this, it's a very, very like well-known image consultant. That's what they're self-proclaimed online. I think collectively from TikTok and Instagram, they have about 1 million followers. And I started to see because people started sending me their content, but I also followed this person because I was like, oh my gosh, like they do what I want to do. Like they're an image consultant. They have like such a following. And when I started going viral for some of my videos with like color analysis, I started to see that they were making like rebuttal videos about my content. And and the reason why I knew they were talking about me specifically is because they were using examples and specific type of like celebrities in their videos. And I paid it dust, but I was so confused as to like why this person who had such a large following was spending such a concentrated amount of time trying to almost like debunk me, but like the thing is about me, because I don't just put out content without it being backed by theory and framework and science. So I was really confused. On top of that was the fact that like not only are you like this professional, but you're like loud. I mean, you're wrong, but you're like loud and wrong. And so I was just so taken aback. So I really would like to know, as someone who's like definitely more senior and seen so much, how do you navigate that? Like, I would love to know and pick your brain on that.
One of the biggest things is this. It's knowing who you are, and it's staying true to you and what you think that you feel and you know, while also simultaneously being open to saying,
Mm-hmm.
"Could I do something better?"
Yeah.
Okay. That's me and what
Mm.
I have done because I had I've had people talk about me on podcasts.
Crazy.
It was really fun to be told about that. I've, been talked about on podcasts. I have had people try to actually take me down on social media and
Crazy. Wow.
start creating like, literally spreading lies about me on social media to try to debunk or,
Mm-hmm.
try to blow me down a peg,
Mhm.
take me down a
Sure.
notch. I have clients or people that aren't even clients yet that will come into DMs or emails and they'll say, well, they will be the ones that will try to dictate their own price or their own experience in the
Ooh,
studio
yes.
or their own experience in the studio. Like, well, it's not fair that you frame it this way. Like, why can't we have more than 2 people in the studio for a style analysis? Like, well, it's, if clearly I'm not the person for you then.
Absolutely.
And it's fine, but
Absolutely.
staying in your truth, standing in your truth,
Yeah.
if you're gonna be a business owner, you have to be able to do that. Also,
Mm.
the thing that I keep in the back of my head in perpetuity is, if I don't wanna be you, I'm not gonna take advice from you.
Ooh, I like that. I really like that.
If I don't wanna be you, I'm not gonna take advice from you, especially if it's unsolicited,
Ooh, that part. I like
respectfully.
that. I think that's like, yeah, respectfully. I think that's actually really powerful though. Truly being anchored in like, who am I? And also, um, like the vision you see for yourself. It's like, how would that person show up in like in these moments? Because I think also there's something to be said about, because we're in an internet age, we're in a social media age. I think it comes with the territory that, especially as you get bigger in your craft, yeah, it's just gonna come to a point where like someone's gonna make a content video about you,
Oh,
and
they're gonna start Reddit posts about you.
yeah, I think that's one of those things where I think that's why I'm kind of like a later bloomer in regards to me being like an entrepreneur and doing what I do now, because I've spent years almost like learning from the mistakes of bigger influencers and celebrities and just
Mhm.
like what not to do. Like that's why I always try to stay service oriented and like really putting a lot of my effort into my products, my deliverables, my services, because at the end of the day, it's like people can maybe have an opinion about me, but they could always be able to say, but he knows what the fuck he's doing though. He is like, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
that's what I want, being like, oh, well, people may be able to say this, that, and the other about some perception, some interaction, but he's one of the best to ever do it. And those are things that I really want to be anchored in, and that's why I have so much integrity. I learned this a lot from my mom. She told me relatively at a younger age that she said like, make sure that if you're ever going to like speak on something, or especially if you're ever going to speak your true truth, make sure you think twice about writing things down. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're understanding like that your reputation is like the only thing that you really have at the end of the day on a professional standpoint. So I take a lot of that wisdom from my mom, who's always been so ambitious, who's always like been even her own kind of visionary. There's times when I'm like, I would love for her to kind of slow down. But this is just like what gives her life. She's always trying to be better than the version that she was yesterday. And I see a lot of that in myself. So I loved what you said about that, about truly being like, just like knowing who you are, because really, if you do, you get grounded in that, like knowing, like you really become unshakable. It doesn't really matter, what the riffraff says, if that's the case.
Not even just that. There's something that I mentioned earlier that I think is even more important, which is just because they have 1 million followers doesn't
Yeah.
mean that people know them.
Ooh,
Mhm.
that part. That's true too.
Just because the Daily Mail might write about you doesn't mean the New York Times will,
Yeah.
right? Like there's this whole
Yeah.
ecosphere of people that only listen to certain people and not
Mhm.
others.
Mm,
And so you have to
yeah.
remember, like, just 'cause somebody said something doesn't mean that your next client has seen it or heard it or thought it or talked
Mhm.
about it, or
That's so
Yeah.
true.
they don't know. They don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
They don't.
They don't know. Well, Domo, this has been sorry, Dama. This has been an incredible conversation. Tell the people
Same.
where they can find you, babe.
Yes, everyone. You can find me currently on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can also find me on Facebook, Domo Aesthetics, and combines my name, Domo, Domo, and then Aesthetics. So it's DOMO STHETICS. And then website pending, it is happening. I've already talked to Blair and Erin. They've like literally put the fire in me to like get it as a priority, get it done. It is coming, I promise you. But yes, you can find me on all three of those. And of course, if you ever want to reach out to me for any type of rates, bookings, just email me, info@domosthetics.com. Truly, I'm the only one who's checking that inbox. So I will be will be able to get you'll be talking to me directly for sure. But yes, come out. We have a great all time, especially on TikTok. We cut up over there.
So fun. Domo, you're the best. I appreciate your time with us
No,
today,
y'all are
babe.
the best. No, again, thank you all both for reaching out to me. Just really appreciate you all again for your all's time and just having me here. Truly.
Of course.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. All right, guys, you heard it here. If you want to learn anything else about Domo, you know exactly where to find him.
Yes.
That's going to be it from us today on Style Rebellion. We'll talk to y'all soon. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Start the rebellion.